through your thinking, you can literally rewire your brain. The mind has the power to alter the matter, the physical nature of your brain. That's an astounding concept. And there's so much in the world today that can make you anxious, particularly if you spend so much time on social media, which is kind of a machine of anxiety. So what you have to develop is the ability to observe yourself in the moment as these things are happening. How can people who feel a lot of anxiety or depression or OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, how can they benefit from this? How can they explore the neural sublime and get out of the narrowing of consciousness that occurs under these things? I tell the story in part of the chapter of this UCLA professor, Jeffrey Schwartz. He was a professor of psychology. And he wanted to find a new cure for OCD because all of the cures before involved talking therapy or drugs. And they could have value in the moment, but they don't last, and people would inevitably slip back into their old patterns. Nothing seemed to work. And he devised this method where he took patients with very severe OCD, meaning like phobias where they have to wash their hands continually, right? And they're always afraid of germs, other forms of that phobia. And he took brain scans of them. And in those brain scans, he saw that the worry circuit in the brain, literally he would call the worry circuit, was enlarged, right? It was bigger than it was for normal people. And that worry circuit is what triggered their OCD. They had to manage the world and control it by narrowing their thoughts down to these compulsions. He would take that scan and he would show these patients the scan and he would say, look, there's your worry circuit. Look how large that is, okay? Now, every time you feel your anxiety, like you've got to wash your hands, stop, step back, and think about it. Think about what you're going through and think about the emotion and try and just create a little bit of distance from it, right? And practice that day after day after day so you can observe yourself as you start becoming compulsive and obsessive about it. And then he would say, go and do activities like gardening, like meditating, like walking, that would calm your mind down. Okay. And as they go through that, after 3 months, he would show them their brain scans now, and that worry circuit had gone smaller and smaller to almost normal proportions. And what he just said is, this is absolutely the most astounding discovery, because what it means is through your thinking, through your patterns of thinking, you can literally rewire your brain, right? Your ability to do that gives you, the mind has the power to alter the matter, the physical nature of your brain. And that's an astounding concept. Okay, so let's say you feel a lot of anxiety about the world, and we all do. I know by my nature, I'm a very anxious person, and I've been able to channel that into my work, but I know how debilitating anxiety can be. And there's so much in the world today that can make you anxious, particularly if you spend so much time on social media, which is kind of a machine of anxiety, right? So what you have to develop is what this doctor developed, is the ability to observe yourself in the moment as these things are happening. What I said earlier is that your brain, your consciousness is like a spaceship that is controlling you, that is taking you on this journey, right? You don't control your own consciousness. With anxiety, with depression, with this OCD, you need to start taking control of that spaceship. You need to be able to have some of the levers and be able to move it in your own direction. Now, of course, that's easier said than done. But by the process of observing yourself and stepping back and not letting it be automatic, if you can just take a moment when you start to feel anxious and go, why am I feeling this anxiety? And locate it somewhere in the body, in the chest area, whatever it is. And to become aware of it happening in the moment gives you a little bit of distance from it, right? Just a tiny little bit of distance. So you're not just giving into the anxiety and letting it take you on this ride. You create that tiny little crack of distance The next time, if you keep doing this, it gets wider and wider and wider and wider, to the point where you can observe yourself in your body, in your moment, as it's happening, why this is happening, how it's happening, and you can step back from it. And that gives you a degree of control of it, right? So the idea is, in order to alter your consciousness, whether it's because of something that's constricting it or whatever, by the fact of becoming aware of it, aware of its dynamic, aware of its functions, you can give yourself some distance that will now allow you to alter it a little bit, right? To play with it in some way and to go, I'm feeling anxiety in this moment, but actually there's no need to feel anxiety in this moment. Actually, this moment is actually pretty exciting. It's open. I don't have to feel it as this tightness.